Hello, heroes. Joe Smith here. So this happened a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago. You already heard about it. Sorry for late response. Joe Smith's been busy working and just happened to hear about it on the news. Hadn't heard about it previous. But it's a story that Joe Smith was trying to follow since it happened. You know, Mr. Muhammad, was it? The Pakistani immigrant there, New York City, I believe it was. He was like Uber driver or something, and picked up these two teenage white girls. Believe they're white girls. You know, Joe Smith has pointed out uh, a lot of incidents in the past when people that weren't white commit crimes, and just because the hypocrisy of them saying that their lives matter, then they're going around and committing these hellacious, I believe that's the word, hellacious crimes, or heinous crimes, just insensible crimes. Well, these, believe this time it was a couple white girls, because there's bad apples from every tree. There's criminals in every race. Joe Smith meant that, not trying to single out any one race here on these videos, just kind of commenting on what the news posts. And if the news happens to only post videos about a certain race, well, go and complain about the news being racist, because Joe Smith's just commenting on what he sees on the news all the time. But believe this was a couple white girls. Believe the oldest was 15, the other a little bit younger, 14 or 13, think it was, forget. They got this ride from like an Uber driver, can't pronounce just kidding. Joe Smith sucks at names. Cannot pronounce the first name. I will not do it justice. But the last name was Muhammad, I believe it was, Mr. Muhammad. I believe it was a Pakistani immigrant in like New York City, something like that. Just being a little taxi cab driver, Uber driver, or Uber Eats driver, or something like that. Gave a couple girls a ride, a couple of teenage girls a ride. Oldest was like 15, other one a little bit younger. And they carjacked him. And then while he struggled to fight for control of the car, and bystander just kind of stood there and videoed, which, I say, as a bystander, you do not have to intervene, okay? Bystanders out there, you do not have to intervene. You can do so at your own personal risk. You may get injured, you may get killed if you do intervene. So, if you do intervene, know that you may get injured, you may get killed. It is not your duty to intervene. That's the law in like every state out there as a bystander. But at least try to get something on video or pictures or license plate or description or something. So this guy that chose not to intervene, that chose to just be there and record, don't badmouth him. Don't put him down. Don't bully him. Don't harass him. Don't say he's a coward. At least he got some video. At least he got some information, which led to the girls being apprehended. He chose not to put his life in harm's way. He may have been killed trying to intervene. And as a bystander, if you try to intervene again, that's the risk you take of possibly being killed, or being hurt or injured or paralyzed or something or other like that. So that's why they say you do not have to intervene as bystander. You do so at your own risk. So please, heroes out there, don't say he's not a hero, because he didn't intervene. He's a hero for at least getting video and information descriptions. He just wanted to make sure he was able to live the rest of the day and go home to be a hero to his family and kids at night is all. So don't put him down or nothing, please. But the oldest girl got the max sentence. It was handed down like 2 or 3 weeks ago. She's 15 years old. She got 6 years in juvenile center for girls. Means she'll be in a juvenile center until she is 21. And then she'll be completely free. And, hopefully she's found Jesus. Hopefully she's got her life turned around by then. And realizes she made a huge mistake and, maybe sends a letter to the family and, apology or something. Or tries to do something to make up for it. But then also at the same time, 6 years for carjacking and murdering someone, or I guess it was like an accidental homicide, so maybe carjacking and manslaughter, or carjacking and murder 2, or murder 3 if there is a murder 3, or accidental manslaughter, something like that. So like carjacking and accidental manslaughter, maybe she was charged with, not sure. Didn't read the exact details what she was charged with, but the judge had convicted her, and at 15 years old, she is sentenced to 6 years in a juvenile center for teenage girls, and at the age of 21, she'll be released, and her record will probably be expunged or sealed or something, whatever they call it. Where she can just be a normal adult and live a normal life. Well, if this is going to be the case anytime this happens, and teenagers everywhere, if you want to murder someone, you might as well go ahead and freaking do it. Because you're only going to get 4 to 6 years in a juvie center, and then when you turn 18 or 21, depending on your state, you're going to be free to go, and your prior convictions are going to be sealed. And in some states, they might even give you a new name. That happened here in Arkansas. Holy shit, what was that? Sounds like a freaking explosion. Like more than just some fireworks. But, happened down the street somewhere. The dogs on the other side there are barking. Like something blew up. Sorry for the distraction. But crap, man. But, it happened years ago here in Arkansas. Jonesboro. Jonesboro shootings. They were 12 or 13 or 14, something like that. I went to jail. They got convicted, but put in jail till they're 18 or 21. Forget what it was. You can read about on Wikipedia. Jonesboro school mass shooting from the 1990s, late 1990s, 98, 97, something like that. Forget for sure. But they were released when they were 18 or 21, one or the other. And then they moved from Jonesboro, which is northeast Arkansas, to here in Walmartville, northwest Arkansas. And they actually worked here in town at a gas station that Joe Smith was going to at the time when he first moved down here. And they ended up stealing a credit card, or one was working there anyways, and he stole a credit card, and then used that Burger King, the local Burger King that Joe Smith's been to several times, and posted videos about manager hooking him up with specials a couple years ago on this channel. There's probably a video or two back a couple years about that still, if you want to go back and watch that. But he ended up like stealing a credit card or something, or checks or something, and then used that at that Burger King. And they also got kind of charged with drugs and illegal weapon possession, like gun possession, for their prior convictions and other stuff. But one of them ended up getting killed in a car accident, and it was actually the other guy's fault. You can kind of read about that on Wikipedia if you want. Kind of a little ironic story or whatever. Like Lance Morissette would say, like, do a mass shooting when you're 12, get released from prison, and then get killed in a car accident when it's someone else's fault. Isn't it ironic, don't you think? Yeah, it's really ironic, don't you think? You know the song. It's something like that. It goes something like that, Yeah, Lance Morissette. But, these kids, teenagers, doing these mass shootings, school shootings, aggravated assault, aggravated robbery, attempted murder, carjacking, and accidental manslaughter, or whatever the charge was in this incident. And they're only getting like 4 to 6 years, and they're getting released with like a sealed record or expunged record or something. And, even though they're like kids or teenagers, and maybe the court should be a little bit lenient, maybe it's a little too lenient, or too many people are doing it. Their teenagers are like, well, that's all we're going to get. Let's go kill some people while we're teenagers. We'll do a few years in juvie, and then we'll be free to do whatever the F we freaking want the rest of our effing freaking life. And that's what's happening. So a 14-year-old girl and that 12-year-old boy, don't know a 12-year-old boy, but at least if he fired any shots, but at least a 14-year-old girl did at that home break-in and shooting at the police in Florida recently. Well, we're already in juvie. We're going to do a few more years. Let's go ahead and kill some people. Get out of our system or something, whatever. Like, dude, like people, heroes, prosecutors, please. Please. Need to hold these people more accountable. Yes, some of them are being tried as adults and getting adult sentencing in adult facilities, or maybe in a juvenile facility till they're 18 and then transfer to adult facility after 18 or after 21. But, this Pakistani immigrant just trying to make a living for himself and his family and kids, if he did have family or kids, or at least for himself, was viciously carjacked. And even though maybe they didn't mean to kill him, these girls did with their action, and 6 years in a juvie center just does not seem like enough. There needs to be... It's getting crazy. You got 11-year-olds killing people nowadays, or 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds are shooting people. They're carjacking. Heard a story about 11-year-old carjacking someone with a gun. It's getting out of hand. These teenagers and even preteens now are out of control. You need to rewrite the laws. Lawmakers, Congress people, senators, different like state representatives, state Congress people, state representatives, senators, whatever. You need to rewrite laws, make adjustments to where when a 14 or 15-year-old or 11-year-old or 16-year-old kills someone, they get more than like 4 to 6 years in a juvie center. because apparently that's just not enough anymore to deter them. And parents out there of kids and teenagers, you need to be working a little bit freaking harder at deterring your kids from carjacking and murder. When Joe Smith was a kid, he didn't steal. He did not dare steal a pack of bubble gum or a pack of baseball cards for $1 or 79 cents or whatever. He did not dare steal a 30-cent candy bar at the time, because Joe Smith's dad here would have freaking whooped his ass for about 3 days straight. You know, they say that like spanking is not good for kids or whatnot, and you know, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's not good for kids. Maybe it's bad to spank your kids. Don't know. But, you know, when Joe Smith was a kid, Joe Smith would have dared steal like a 30-cent candy bar or 25-cent can of pop or what was at the time or something. Even like some penny candy. Joe Smith would dare steal some penny candy from the penny candy bin, put in his pocket and not pay for it or something. And Dad found out. Joe Smith's dad would have beat him silly all night long. And you know, if that's what it takes for some of these kids, even though it might be bad for them later on, well, maybe it's what needs to be done. Maybe it's, even though it might be bad for them later on, maybe it'll keep them from murdering someone and going in prison for life now. And then they could deal with later on, with some counseling, with a social worker or something. But, you know, Joe Smith here just don't know what else to say. Don't know what other solutions there is. You know, those of you that are over 40 out there, those of you heroes in the Hero Nation over 40, how many of you got your butt whooped if you got in trouble in school or tried stealing something or like petty theft or some silly little thing? How many of you got your butt whooped like a switch or branch or belt or paddle or yardstick or wooden spoon or something? You know, Joe Smith's mom and Joe Smith's dad as a kid, my God, don't dare get in trouble in school. Joe Smith's dad worked at the school as a maintenance guy, so he would usually find out about during school before the school got out. Joe Smith had to walk home from school. When Joe Smith got home from school, his mom would be waiting with a yardstick or a wooden spoon or something. Joe Smith get it paddling, and then when Joe Smith's dad got home from work at school, he would get even bigger paddling. So Joe Smith here stayed the freaking F out of freaking F trouble. Plus, elementary principal and high school principal and superintendent and about 8 teachers were there in the neighborhood around the block for that too. It's a real small town, so there's no hiding. Sometimes a teacher would come over after school and Joe Smith here would freak out and jump on his bike and take off pedaling or running down the street thinking he was fixing to get his butt whooped again for something. He just scared to death to do something wrong or steal or get in trouble growing up. But maybe that's what some of these kids need. They just need a little fear put in them. Because right now they're like, let's go ahead and carjack someone and kill them at 11 years old, and we'll do 2 or 3 or 4 years, maybe 6 years in juvie, and then we can go on and be normal adults like everyone else, like nothing ever happened. And that's what's effed up with the freaking legal system. Sorry for the effing and freaking language here, but just don't know what else to say. Just feel so bad for Mr. Muhammad. Came here for the American dream. He had a family, wife, kids, anything like that at home. Just Joe Smith here feels so freaking bad for him, his family, his kids, if he had any. Just, so please, heroes, prayers for Mr. Muhammad's family, if he did have family. Don't know if he did again, but came here for the American dream from Pakistan. He was one of the good people from Pakistan. And these teenage girls, apparently white girls, murdered him. And now they're just going to get a few years in juvie, and they'll be able to go on with the rest of their adult lives. Meanwhile, he will not be able to, and his family will struggle with theirs. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, ring the bell. If you want, you don't have to. If you disagree, feel free to say so in the comments. If you agree, please say so in the comments. Joe Smith signing out.